Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cocoa in the Sun podcast. I am your host, Malika, and today we are continuing with the Hathor Material by Tom Kenyon and Virginia Essene. I believe we will be on chapter 3. I was really excited about today because I have every time like I read a chapter, I feel like the message is for me specifically at that time, and it helps me along my journey, my progression. So I am curious to see what chapter 3, what little gems chapter 3 has for me and for anyone else that may be on their journey as well. I wanted to say a really huge thank you to Erica that left a message for me, the comment. It made my decade because I'm doing these podcasts and I have no idea. If I do it because I love to do it. Um, I just love reading. And I have no idea if this is reaching anyone or helping anyone. So that really helped me feel good and to continue along my journey with these podcasts that I've been doing. So I want to thank Erica. Thank you so much. Okay, so before we start, what is the vibes today? So today is the day after the solar eclipse. It's Tuesday. I'm in Miami, Florida. So we did not get a total eclipse here. I think we got a partial. But the energy yesterday was like so different. So different. Today's a lot calmer. I think we got a lot of energy yesterday that we had to integrate. I think, of course, everybody's different depending on where they are on their journey, like how intense they would have felt, I think may be related to possibly how far along we are, how many more things we need to clear, like where we're heading, right? So I don't, but for me it felt very I felt very spacey and like fizzy or tingly. So I went to the park in the morning to ground. So when I say I ground, I don't know if it's the same meaning as everyone else. For me, it just means to do things that I love to do on earth. Um, yeah, the human things that I really love to do helps me love being on earth and ground. So for me, that's like I like to go for walks. So I like to go for walks. There's a park close to me that I really love to go to walk, and beautiful trees and all kinds of like birds and lizards and squirrels and so being in nature. I really love it there. So I went and I sat in the sun. The bench there's a particular bench that I love. I did a walk on my Instagram. You can see the walk up the park where I walk. Um, and yeah, I did a live on it. So it's like saved as a reel. If you go to my Instagram, you can see the park and all the creatures and stuff that are there. But anyway, so the bench that I usually sit in had a lot of sun. And I just felt like I just sat in the sun and just like tried to level off. Because it was a nice feeling, but it was very spacey. Like I felt like I could pass out or I don't know. I don't know. So I did that. And then when I felt good enough, then I came home and I was like, I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna cook some like real earthy food. So, I made some callaloo and baked rice and stewed. I'm West Indian, but I'm Trini. So, and some potatoes. It was really good. It tastes so good. And with like coconut milk and stuff like stuff from the earth, not no processed food, right? Not no chemical food, like food that I cooked. And drank a lot of like orange juice. Like I felt like I needed a lot of nutrients. And coconut water, a lot of coconut water yesterday. And then so it kind of like leveled after lunch, after I ate and stuff. I was feeling really good. And then like even though it was leveled, I felt like a little still like wired, like antsy a little bit. Um mild anxiety. I don't know what the dog. Mild anxiety. So like around 6 to 8, I was like, because I had the windows open. I was like bringing in the new vibes. So I was like, maybe I need to start closing up the windows. I usually close it when it starts to get dark and stuff like that. But I was like, I know I'm feeling like it's intense. So I want to see if I close the windows but kept the blinds open. So the light was still in, but I had closed like, the wind and all that because it was open all day, so maybe it was overkill now, you know? So I did that and that leveled me. I felt really, really good. I slept well, so good last night, like really good. Because the night before, like after midnight, I woke up at like 12:34 the night before, like Monday, Sunday night into Monday morning. And I was like, oof, I was starting to feel tingly already. And that continued the whole night. I had a really restless sleep that night. So, and then I woke up like spacey. So last night the sleep was so welcome. It was so good. It was so calming and peaceful. I felt really good. I felt like good things are coming. That the transition occurred, that we got the energies needed to take us to wherever we're supposed to go. With our soul purpose or soul desires, our joys. I think that's how I feel for me personally. Um, so we shall see. But yeah, so those things helped me yesterday. Walking, going in the sun, cooking, eating, a lot of drinking, nutrients and vitamins, stuff like that. And a lot of breath work, a lot of breathing. I had to do a lot of deep breathing and stuff. And then of course, like, I'm not a great meditator. I like to look at the sunset. I always say that. So I did that. And then just asking my, eternal self and my divine self and my angels and my guides to help me integrate whatever the energies were that was good for me, to integrate it in a way that was enjoyable for me. So I think all these things, and then the whole day I was very grateful. Like I kept um, thanking myself for the progress that I came through following my intuition, thanking my guides, thanking my angels, thanking my eternal self. I don't really like to say higher self anymore because I feel like higher self is like hierarchical. I don't ever say that word properly. But my eternal self, like my soul self, like, for guiding me and for the entire journey, even the hard parts that wasn't enjoyable. It's like the lessons learned there and the wisdom learned there and the self-love that I had to go in and find from those lessons. Okay. So it's very grateful. I was very grateful yesterday, very thankful, very thankful. So hopefully we're moving forward. I think it feels to me like I'm moving forward. So that's who I am. What was it for you? What type of experiences did you have? Because I've been like looking at like on threads and on Instagram and like pages I follow and like people that were posting about the solar eclipse and what they were feeling and all the comments and stuff. It feels like kind of similar. I think some people had some purging. I was reading someone was throwing up and stuff like that. Some people were dealing with a lot of anxiety. I had a touch of it. Some people were feeling wired. I could relate to that. Somebody said like electric was going through them, and that's like so it felt fizzy, like kind of. So I think that could be the same description. So I think I wasn't the only one that was having that type of experience. It looks like a lot of people experience something energy-wise intuitively. So I'm curious of what anyone else felt and what they felt the messages were. So I don't know exactly what the frequencies that came in were, or I don't really know much about codes and stuff like that, but I know I know something was coming in because I was feeling fizzy and spacey, like I was walking in air, like, like I could pass out, like it was feeling, it felt different. So I don't know. I really don't know what it was that came in, but I think it was good. It felt good. It felt good because I know today feels really good. Today feels really balanced and hopeful, and like dreams could come true, but not like dreams are far off, not like it's um normal to happen, like it could happen. So we'll see. But anyway, so let's start and see what the Hathors have to share with us today. Chapter 3. Chapter 3, I have a lot underlined already. I must have read this chapter before. I don't think I finished this chapter though prior. I hope we can get all done today. Maybe the podcast might be too long. I don't know. We will see how it goes. Let me get my glasses. Oh, maybe I can be without a glass. Let's see how I do without a glass. Okay. All right. So, chapter 3, feeling and the human evolution. So, chapter 3, feeling and human evolution. Okay. So, we start. We would like to share a concept that will accelerate your evolution. It has to do with what you term feeling. For us, we draw a distinction between feeling and emotion. Feeling includes the physical sensations that you experience, both physical sensations of the sensory world and physical sensations of the inner or subtle worlds. We define emotion as a combination of feelings with thoughts about those feelings. For instance, if the weather is cool and overcast, your feeling nature will report that particular information about the environment. Your feeling nature receives this information through your body's nervous system. In addition, the subtle bodies will receive information which will translate as feeling. If you happen to have a negative thought about it, being a cool, overcast day, then you might judge or decide this is a dreary day. And you might find yourself having a depressed feeling. This occurs because you have responded judgmentally to a neutral feeling received. In innocence, through your feeling nature. Interestingly, someone else might really enjoy a cool overcast day and be uplifted by the very thought of it. I do like overcast day myself, but I like sunny days too. And I like rainy days too. I like all kind of days. Anyway, true feeling is neither positive nor negative. They are simply neutral reports, a kind of barometer about what is happening in your own energy responsive, energy attuned world. Your feeling nature is an attribute of your emotional body, which is closely tied to your car. The emotional body is a field of energy that surrounds and interpenetrates your physical body. So, okay, so in the first 2 chapters, we talked about your physical body and your car body, your energy body. So now they're adding on to it the emotional body, which is the field of energy that surrounds and interpenetrates the physical body. So you have the energy and emotional and the physical so far. I think they talk about the mental too, but they haven't gone into depth with it. Yeah. Trying to like picture it in my head, like see my physical body and then like see an outline of my energy body and then like an outline of my emotional body. I could probably do it like with colors. What color I would give I think I would give if I'm imagining it, this is my own imagination. Maybe this is wrong. Maybe I shouldn't do that. But my car body or energy body, I'd be like bright light, white light. And then my feeling body or my emotional body, sorry, I would put different colors, like mixing because of the different feelings. Kind of like a tie-dye thing, mixing in more blues and pinks and yellows and greens, like a rainbow, but moving rainbow. And y'all know I love rainbows. Okay, so when something activates the emotional body, it begins to vibrate in specific ratios, setting off energy flows which stream around and through the physical body. If these flows are strong enough, that is, when a strong feeling emotional reaction occurs, these flows can be physically felt within the tissues of the body itself. Thus, the stronger the feeling response, the stronger the physical sensation. One of the keys to the ascension process from an energetic standpoint is to allow your energy fields to open and to move freely. Energy fields to open and move freely. The ability to move more energy and to master positive movement of that energy comes through cultivation of your feeling body or your feeling nature. So if I guess if we're able to feel in a positive way, we have positive emotions, which will allow for the energy to move in a positive direction. So that's why you kind of have to pay attention to how you're feeling and honor yourself, right? Not like dismiss. Like, if you don't want to be someplace, be like, I have to be here. Or if you talk to somebody that drains you and you continue to, not good for your feelings, it's not good for your energy. Your emotions have an effect on health, which is being more clearly demonstrated and documented in your sciences. And there's one vital, specific, and positive resonance that takes place when a person feels a certain kind of emotion. An emotional vibratory field called unconditional acceptance or unconditional love. This sets up an intercellular resonance that positively affects the DNA, making it stronger, helping it code information more precisely. Wow. Wow. This positive resonance actually emerges whenever you feel the emotion of unconditional acceptance or love. Naturally, the more you experience this emotion, the more you benefit all levels of your total self from the DNA. From the physical level of your body through the emotional body to reinforcement of the pranic body of the car, and also to feelings of well-being. Allowing the energy of unconditional acceptance and love to move through the emotional body activates a process of profound healing and balance. That's like major, like that's super important. So it affects the DNA. Unconditional love and unconditional acceptance affects the DNA in such a positive way that it affects the emotional body, which then reinforces the car body and feelings of well-being. Unconditional love is the way to go. So how do we do unconditional love? We have to start with ourselves in order for us to really do it for others. Anyway, I'm sure they're going to share with us how to do that. Dog barking, so I'll take a sip of water till he finishes because he'll just be barking over me. Raji, come on. Raj. Oh my goodness. Okay, so the barking stops, so let's continue. Allowing yourself to experience all feelings and emotions is a powerful means to move energy through your car. What happens to many human beings, however, is that in a difficult or challenging situation, They mentally label the situation as bad and resist the resulting emotions. When you resist feelings or emotions, your emotional body cannot vibrate properly and it freezes or locks up. It freezes or locks up. When it is not able to move or vibrate properly, you become less aware mentally and your thoughts get fuzzy, unclear, and muddled. So this affects our thoughts. Not allowing emotions to move through affects how we think and it makes us less aware. The life situations that arise today on your planet and the emotions you generate are actually the initiatory phases of higher consciousness, leading to ascension and mastery. In the ancient temples of Egypt, an initiate on the path to higher consciousness would go through different initiations, each becoming more and more intense. Today, however, your daily life is this process of initiation. There's no place that you need to go to receive initiations, for you are being initiated by life wherever you are. The key is allowing yourself to be aware of your feelings and emotional responses to situations so they can be noticed and balanced. Because the emotional body and the car are energetically connected, by strengthening your car and by bringing your emotions and feelings into full and positive awareness, you greatly accelerate your own evolution. The emotional body has its own resonance and moves differently than the car. Because it vibrates at a different frequency rate, it responds to and holds information differently. This is so important that we wish to take you through an experience. It will provide you, we hope, with an appreciation of how your emotional body holds memory and how emotional patterns are expressed so that you can rise to the place of mastery and shift out of difficult emotional spaces more quickly. So we would ask, Virginia, before we proceed to the techniques, are there any questions you anticipate our readers might have? Virginia. Thank you. You haven't said much about the size and shape of our other various subtle body fields, those beyond the physical level. Can you describe the way you view them as you look at us when we're at your strongest energies, when we're at our strongest energies, and what it looks like when our energies are not operating properly? The Hathors. With the exception of the physical body, the various other interpenetrating fields are like luminous egg-shaped fields of light, and they are embedded in each other. The car is actually a complex field of energy. Its primary form is similar to that of the physical body, though slightly larger. This is why it is called the etheric or spiritual twin in Egyptian alchemy. The early Egyptians understood its nature and relationship to the physical form. Indeed, the car can move about and even bilocate, in which a person appears to be in two places at the same time. The car also has an auric field of energy around it, which we call the pranic body. I find this amazing and very interesting and very intriguing. Because these are things I can't see, at least not yet, right? And it's so cool to get a description of it. When we refer to the car, we often mean both its primary form and its auric field. This field is egg-shaped, much like the other fields, and can get quite large as a person moves upward in consciousness. This auric field around the car can ignite at a certain moment in the upward movement of ascension and become a field of intense golden light. The early Egyptians referred to this as the Sahu, or glorious spiritual body. However, we are speaking here of very advanced energy states. Generally speaking, for most people, the pranic body extends from a few inches to several feet from the physical body. The emotional body is the next body and is slightly larger than the car body. The mental body is slightly larger still because it holds memory holographically in space around the physical body. From there, the astral body is actually a subtler sheath that is slightly larger, just barely larger than the mental body. Beyond the astral body is the next luminous egg-shaped field, which we call the etheric body. Finally, the causal body, the least dense of all, is a point of light where the other is a point of light above the other luminous eggs. All of these subtle bodies emit light and sound. That's a lot of bodies. So there's the car body, and then that car body has the pranic egg around it. Then there's the emotional body that's bigger than the car and pranic body. Then the mental body that's bigger than the emotional body. Then they have the astral. So after the mental is the astral, then the causal. The causal body, it's just it's like a point of light above the other bodies. So we have physical, car, the pranic shield around the car, which is considered with the car, emotional, mental, astral, and causal, which is 6. Wait, I'm just trying to read this over. No, there's the etheric 7. So the etheric is after the astral. And then there's the causal. Okay. Physical, pranic, emotional, mental, astral, etheric, and causal 7. I think this is going to be a good book. These frequencies are too high to be seen or heard physically, but they can be seen and heard psychically. This is how we ascertain where people are in their evolution, by the quality of the light and the quality of the sound generated from their fields. When operating correctly, the sound and light emitted by your fields are harmonious. When they hold a limiting emotional pattern or belief, for example, the colors and sound become disharmonious. In severe cases of self-limitation, one or more of the bodies may actually alter its rotation, wobbling, locking, or freezing up. And in extreme cases, a subtle body can even fragment. Virginia, we've been told our energies can go out several feet or more depending on the person. What would you say would be the smallest and greatest size energy field you have seen or experienced to this point? A being such as Jesus or an avatar will have fields that extend for several miles, and in some cases, hundreds of miles. In terms of the etheric body of one who has fully ascended, the etheric body includes all of the known universe within itself. So it has expanded to include all levels, all information, all knowledge. Omniscience is available to anyone at that level for they have actually merged their bodies with the universal body. In regards to the smallest size field possible, that would be the cause auric field or pranic body during times of illness. In cases of extreme illness, the cause vitality is lowered and the field shrinks. It can literally pull into the body so that there's no pranic force around or at the surface of the body at all. Virginia, could you describe what the average American citizen going down the street looks like to you? So we have a point of reference. Hathors. As we perceive humans, they appear to us as swirling, luminous, egg-shaped fields of light and sound. The physical body can be seen through these swirling fields of light, of colored lights, and appears to us as a shimmering galaxy of stars. I wish we had a picture of this. This sounds so beautiful. Each atom is like a miniature star emitting a brilliant light, and the organs of your body are like star clusters. When your body is viewed through the swirling fields that surround you, you are quite beautiful. You are to us like faceted diamonds of light, precious and most wondrous. There is, however, something which we find disturbing as we look at your vital force. Many of you are experiencing a decline in the quality of prana around and within you. This is a result of many factors, some of which are beyond your control to affect. So it is even more vital that you attend to the nurturance and elevation of your car. Freeing up your feeling nature will have a positive effect upon your vitality too. So let's turn our attention here in greater detail. Now, we wish to offer 2 exercises to allow you to explore your emotional body's nature with greater understanding. The first exercise concerns how the emotional body holds the memory and the energy pattern of a feeling. The second exercise shows how the emotional body responds to a high coherency vibration or the specific feeling we refer to as unconditional acceptance or unconditional love. Woo! Okay, self-mastery exercise number 2, part A. This is a big chapter. I think everybody should get this book. I think this book and the Bringers of the Dawn are so good explaining so many things that we don't really know much about. In a simple and concise way. Okay, let us begin with the first exercise by having you sit comfortably or lie down. When you are comfortably settled, recall an emotional response to a particular situation from the past. For some, it may be important or necessary to recall the actual situation so they can retrieve the emotion. When you have retrieved the emotion, let the situation drop away and then just notice where you sense the energy of the emotion in your body. If you don't sense the energy of the emotion in your body, then you haven't chosen a feeling that is strong enough to create a response in your energy system, in your awareness. Then choose something more volatile, something more obvious and stronger. When you have identified the emotion, retrieve it and sensed it, you will be able to feel its location somewhere in your physical body. It will be possible to sense it somewhere in the space around your body also, but for most people, it will usually be somewhere within the physical body. It also moves through the subtle emotional body, but most humans at these beginning stages are not capable of sensing that. They are certainly capable, however, of sensing it as it moves through or pulses through the physical body. To be aware of the physical body, sensing whatever that sensation, that strong emotion is. I'm sorry, I have to read that over. So be aware of the physical body, sensing whatever that strong emotion is. Sense its pattern, how large the pattern is, the feeling sensation of the energy. Sense the speed at which it is pulsating. Notice whether it is pulsing forward or backward. side to side, whether it is moving or whether it is still. Be aware of all the many emotional characteristics and where they are located in your body. Now we ask that you go back and retrieve another feeling from another situation, a different feeling. As you recall the feeling, notice where in the body it is located, the intensity of the pulsation rate, and where it's moving. Is it pulsating right to left, front to back, or the reverse of these? Identify all the different characteristics you can, and specifically notice where in the body the feeling energy is located. We suggest that you go through this process with various emotions, such as joy, anger, fear, love, peace, etc. So you can discover precisely where in your emotional body you hold these specific patterns. Regrettably, many humans are disconnected from an awareness of their feelings and emotions through childhood training and cultural conditioning. They are not taught to be sensitive to feelings that arise. They are often completely unaware of their feelings and go floating off in their mental body, not aware of the physical sensation that emerges when feelings occur. This is most unfortunate since they are cutting off a major form of information about themselves and their world. Impulses from the subtle realms of consciousness are received first through the feeling nature, and only later are they interpreted by thought and language. Those who stay up in their heads are depriving themselves of a more direct experience of the world and their place in it. When you are too mental, you can be driven by a feeling that you are not even aware of, and it becomes part of what your psychology calls the unconscious. This is the antithesis of spiritual evolution. So it is essential to train yourself to be aware that you are having feelings. Equally essential is to notice where these feelings, energies move in your body. Where do they pulse? How intense and in what direction is that pulse? For some readers, this may be quite elementary, while for some others, this is a revolutionary idea. Whether you are advanced or a beginner, awareness is always the first step. Now, Virginia, we pause for your questions. Virginia, could you say whether positive or more volatile emotions might be the best place to begin? The Hathors. We suggest that you move through many emotions, including what you would term positive and negative, so that you can sense where the negative emotions pulsate, what they feel like, and then where the positive emotions pulsate and what they feel like. The next step in this process, which we will give shortly, deals with positive coherent feelings. The beginning step is to become aware that you have a vocabulary of emotional responses, which are not a vocal language, but do express in the language of pulsation, rhythm, and location. When you notice them, indeed, it is possible by focusing on these pulsations to receive the information they are attempting to communicate in an aid to be joyful, conscious living. I need to read that over. Indeed, it is possible by focusing on these pulsations to receive the information they are attempting to communicate as an aid to joyful, conscious living. Virginia, okay, let us better understand pulsation, rhythm, and location. These would probably be difficult for most people to begin to establish without guidance. Have you any suggestions as to how they might best begin, singularly or in groups? Hathors. We would suggest each person go back through their memory and choose a strong feeling connected with a situation that evokes an emotion for them. They may wish to start with a positive feeling, but it really doesn't matter. Think of it as a replay of a former experience. Simply recall the situation very clearly as it felt the first time. Bring the feeling to awareness and notice where it is located in your physical body. The location of the feeling in the body is literally where it is pulsating in the emotional body's field. At this location, the energy flows that are within your emotional body interpenetrate the physical body. So where you feel the emotion pulsating is the place where the emotional body's energy is pulsating. Now its message to the physical body can be acknowledged. Virginia. Ooh. In describing the emotional body then, could you indicate what it looks like? Hathors. We perceive the emotional body as a luminous egg-shaped energy field of suspended particles of light, billions and billions of tiny particles of light. And some of them have very different colors. Some of them are dark, some of them are gray, some of them are very black. Some of them are brilliant white, gold, blue, all the various colors, and they identify where the memory pattern of the emotion or the feeling is located. So that when one experiences despair, for example, there's actually an activation of light particles that hold that emotional memory pattern of despair. That negative response in place until it is changed. If you experience joy or ecstasy, however, there is another color band that images and other particles holding that frequency are activated. There is a tendency for certain physical body areas to hold particular patterns of emotion. You may experience sadness or joy in the heart area, for instance, whereas you might experience fear or anger through the entire body, especially its periphery. It varies from person to person, but the exercise is designed to begin to educate you as to how you hold the emotional patterns of memory in your own field. As you're in the daily process of living life, this permits you to have a clearer awareness of your feeling responses to situations. Virginia, thank you. Are you saying that there are common patterns of emotion that the human family shares, such as when they are angry, outraged, sad, joyful, loving, etc.? Or are we each so unique that our patterns look totally different? Hathors. There are some commonalities, but there are many unique patterns that take place within the broad common pattern. For many humans, the emotions of sadness and grief are experienced in the chest area first, and then in the area of the face, which responds to those heartfelt, painful emotions, causing a feeling of pulling down. People often want to cry when energies are pulling down from the face and the eyes, because that is a release. But the actual pattern of sadness will often be in the heart and lung area. In the same way, the feeling of joy is felt through the heart center. The feeling of compassion is also felt through the heart center. However, the feeling of ecstasy is a cellular occurrence that permeates the entire body. What happens in ecstasy and bliss is that the car begins to vibrate at a very fast rate. The harmonics open in such a way as to stimulate the brain and central nervous system, especially the neurotransmitters, which begin to stimulate the cells into a feeling of ecstasy and bliss. This then becomes a full body sensation and emanates throughout the entire body and every cell. This feeling of excitation is distinctly different from the feeling of anger, which moves into the peripheral area of the body just under the skin, often moving into the arms and legs, and sometimes causing a desire to hit or kick. The feeling of fear or terror is also right below the surface of the skin, and this fear energy engulfs the body from head to toe. It is as if you are totally engulfed in the fear, which is why, from an energetic standpoint, fear is such a difficult emotion for humans. Since it involves the influences the full body, it can override other processes such as clear thinking. So this is a general view of it. Is there something more specific you're looking for? I was in regards to the joy, the bliss and the ecstasy. I was looking at a video, a YouTube video by Ann Tucker, and she mentioned that humans are the neurons of the earth. And see here they mention how when we experience ecstasy, it stimulates the brain with the neurotransmitters. So I think like if we are in a state of ecstasy, and we are the neurons of the brain, maybe we can transmit that joy throughout the whole planet. Like if the collective as a whole feels it, right? You can stimulate the whole planet. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking, but that would be kind of cool. Virginia. I've always been advised there are only two four-letter words that control our lives. One word is fear and the other is love. This is similar to what you are describing, the Hathors. Yes, from our understanding, we would agree that there is either love or fear in terms of emotions. One can respond with love or one can respond with fear. So the response is a choice, though it may be difficult to understand. The positive choice of love, for instance, may not seem possible in a difficult moment because the energy pattern of the emotional body, if it is strong enough, will override the mental body. Virginia, for example, I have always been frightened of snakes. Now, if I see a snake, my first response is fear. I shudder. Yet, in this life, I have not been bitten or attacked by a snake. So my thought process has clearly been influenced in some negative way. The Hathors. From our understanding, this is the very point. The energetic thing is to realize that the emotional body and the car are very close. So what happens when fear occurs is that the emotional body begins to vibrate very fast. And if you identify with the emotion of fear, then the fear becomes amplified. Depending on how strong the fear pattern is, it may be possible to talk yourself out of feeling fearful. But when the emotional body vibrates in a full-fledged attack of fear, it will override the mental body and you won't be able to think your way out of the situation. You will be paralyzed with fear. But if one goes to the car, one can transmute the fear very quickly. The solution goes back to the central column or panic tube. When you experience an intense, difficult emotional feeling, first identify where in the body it's located because you'll need the reference point. When you go to the car, then you go to the car, the pranic tube, and hold your awareness in the center of the tube that goes right through the middle of your body. In other words, your awareness shifts to the car. What will happen is that the emotional body will begin to shift. And as the vibration of fear begins to oscillate with the stability of the pranic tube, the fear will become more and more subtle, more manageable. Virginia, that's very hopeful. The Hathors. As an analogy, consider those toys you call tops, which children play with and spin. Tops have a central column of energy, though it's invisible, that runs up through the middle. That's its center of gravity, its center of balance, and actually, as long as the top is spinning with enough speed, it will stay upright. But as it loses speed, it will start to wobble, become unbalanced, and fall over. That's very similar to the dynamic between the car and the emotional body when you experience a negative emotional response to something. You can have a feeling that you are literally out of balance, can't you? This happens when the emotional body is spinning and vibrating in a resonance that is out of balance. However, if you locate where the sensation is in the body and at the same time link your awareness to the pranic tube, your emotional body will come back into balance very quickly. Then, sorry, Virginia asks, then when you feel this fear, which is all-encompassing, even as love is, you ask yourself where it is in the body. Hathors, yes, that is correct. You recognize the fear everywhere. When that happens, for most humans, is that their thinking process panics with thoughts like, it's overwhelming, there's nothing I can do. So what we recommend is that you move your awareness in that moment to another part of your energetic body. Move it to the car, move it to the pranic tube, and be aware at the same time of the pranic tube and of the emotion that you're feeling in your body. This way, you will find the emotion dissipating or coming into a mere balanced state. Virginia. So you're saying that as long as the car is strong, it can ameliorate this other situation of fear. That is correct, says the Hathor, Virginia. But if the person is not full of good energy at the car level, then that causes debilitating conditions. Hathors, yes, Virginia. That is why it's critical to feed and maintain our energy level then. Because Christ Jesus once said that humans lose their mastery at the emotional level. Hathors, that is our experience as well, Virginia. So it is absolutely vital to keep the car energy strong. Hathors, yes, attending to the car on a daily basis becomes part of one's daily life. It is simply part of the human equation of health and higher consciousness. Virginia, as important as eating? Hathors, yes. Understand that the car is the essential fundamental body. The car can exist even after the physical body dies for a certain period of time, which can be as much as several thousand years. Some of the ancient practices in Egypt were to activate the car so that one survived one's death consciously until one was able to move with full awareness and consciousness up into the higher bodies and realms of awareness. Your potential is much higher when you develop the car because the car vibrates much faster than any of the bodies, with the exception of the etheric and the causal. The car supplies the building blocks, if you will, at the subtle realm for the actual physical body, the actual cells. It supplies the energies and the architecture of the mental body and the emotional body, and it also sustains the astral body. If you were to remove the car, those subtle bodies would dissolve. If you were to dissolve the physical body, the mental body, and the astral body, but the car was still strong, the car would remain. So the car is like a master over the lower bodies, if you think of it this way. The other bodies become as servants to the car, the pranic body, and the life force. Then, if one takes that life force and directs it to the higher bodies in service to the etheric, the causal, the monad, the source of all that is, then one has a truly powerful alchemy. It is possible to develop the car without surrender and service to the one source. But of course, that is not our teaching, and that is not what we are here to promote. Wow. I feel like I need to highlight that. A lot of highlighting. Please bear with me. Oh my goodness. Probably need to get another highlighter. Sorry, guys. It took long. Well, it was important. Okay, Virginia says, this explains why some of the beings who were quite attached to earthly matters through the lower chakras are visible as ghosts and apparitions after bodily death, the Hathors. Yes, and they really do exist. Virginia, is there anything else you would like to say before we go on to the next exercise? Hathors. We just want to be sure that it is clear to the reader how to use the card to balance uncomfortable emotion in the way we have just described. The first step is for the reader to begin to sense where they feel different feelings in their physical bodies. The second step is to rebalance the emotional body by using the planning tool, which we clarified previously in this chapter as a necessary skill. Virginia, I want to be sure I understand this because there's such confusion among writers about what constitutes feeling and what emotion is. Have you said that a feeling is a neutral sensory experience, but once it is judged or influenced by thought, it then takes on a different quality and is called an emotion? Hathors, yes. And in one sense, it's a semantic difference. But in another sense, it's important for us to make this distinction. For instance, when you have a feeling response towards someone with your feeling nature, you then might think, oh, I love that person, or I appreciate that person, or I have compassion for that person. What has happened is that you have used thought, you have used language to identify what you were originally feeling as a non-verbal energetic experience. This labeling, or the very fact that you can say what it is you are feeling, is a phenomenon that must occur in the mental body. The mental body has reflected the energy and then has used language to create a tag for it. So you can recognize what it was that you experienced. Before the mental bodies are fully activated in young children, usually after about age 7 years of age. Usually after about 7 years of age. And specifically before they have language skills, they have all kinds of feelings that move through their beings, but they have no way to know what they are in terms of language. And they do not label them as good or bad unless they are taught such judgments. The feelings are just part of their experience. So what we say is that the movement of energy through the emotional body is a positive thing because it is how you're going through the initiatory process of life. However, the habit of humans to label feeling responses to situations as good, bad, uncomfortable, difficult, and so forth does not serve them. Contrarily, it often causes them to resist the things they find uncomfortable. Now, we are not saying that the process itself of labeling and identifying the feeling pattern is wrong, but we are saying that if the result of labeling causes you to clamp down and prevent yourself from moving through an emotional experience, then that is anti-evolutionary because it locks up and freezes the energy bodies. Virginia. Now, when you say freezes, does that mean the actual vibratory frequency becomes static? The Hathors. It blocks, it stops, it becomes rigid. Then the car has to respond and tends to get jammed as well, depending on how intense the emotional response is. When the car freezes up, prana does not flow into the area of the body where the emotional pattern is held. So if that emotional pattern tends to be fear and is held in the kidneys, for example, the prana cannot flow into the kidneys, and you may eventually have a problem on the physical level with the kidneys. Virginia, is there more that you would like to say about this, the Hathors? The second exercise we offer you today is the experiencing of unconditional acceptance and unconditional love. So you can see what happens in your field, in your body, when you move into this feeling state. Remember that as you move into this feeling state, you begin to set off an intercellular resonance that is highly coherent and reinforces the strength of the genetics, the DNA in different levels of your body. The more often you choose to experience unconditional acceptance and the more often you choose to feel unconditional love, the more often you set up a harmonic in the emotional body that is very beneficial and very strengthening to both the car and to the physical body. This is a basic process that allows you to move faster into the ascending spiral of consciousness. Woo! Okay, so I'm going to read this exercise now. We have like a page and a half to go. Self-mastery exercise 2, part B. The process is simply to take a moment in the day and recall loving, accepting feelings, and then maintain them for 2 or 3 moments. A further help is to intermittently remember those loving feelings throughout the day. Intensify the feelings so the emotional body vibrates with these feelings. Intensify them so that the car responds and the physical body will follow. It is a wonderful, pleasurable experience, and it strengthens your ability to hold coherent emotion, which is crucial as one moves into the higher dimensional spirals. It also helps your DNA. Virginia, after pausing to experience the love feeling exercise, we have a focus right now on the minds of many metaphysical people about their damaged DNA strands. In terms of how you see us as an energy system, could you explain how our energy system and the DNA strands operate? The Hathors. What we would say is that in your current state, humans are using less than 1/3 of the genetic information available to them. Of the available codons, which are actual units of molecular gates for memory at the genetic level, most humans are using less than 1/3. So there are 2/3 of that unused genetic potential available for use without adding other strands of DNA. In other words, your present double spiral, the double helix that humans possess, is only 1/3 activated. As you begin to move up into the higher spirals of ascension, a need for greater abilities and greater sensitivity develops. So when that need arises, the DNA, in response to the need, will spontaneously open those codons. Then you will find yourself activating more and more of your genetic potential. Therefore, from our perspective, the first step before you even move into other strands of DNA is to fully activate the 2 strands you have, Virginia. And these exercises will assist with that happening, the Hathors. Yes, Virginia. Now, without laying judgment on how this reduction of 12 helix strands down to only 2 has occurred, is there any comment to be made about people's anger at losing those 12 strands they once had? The Hathors. That anger is wasted for several reasons. First of all, anger is an incoherent emotion, and as long as the emotional body holds incoherent emotion, it cannot resonate in the proper manner that allows one to reach the highest spirals. As long as one remains angry about a situation, one is effectively blocking one's growth. In whatever area you are talking about, whether it be on the basic level of one's relationship to other human beings, or the relationship between oneself and one's creator, anger blocks growth. From another standpoint, it's wasted energy because all consciousness flows in cycles, and we are coming out of a very dark cycle where consciousness is waking up again. Consciousness itself sleeps and slumbers in different areas of the cosmos at different times. Sometimes consciousness moves in cycles of high flourishing, but at other times it cycles of pulling back into darkness, during which potential is minimal. There are points where consciousness, to all intents and purposes, disappears into a deep internal sleep. These cycles last eons and repeat themselves endlessly. It is a cycle of growth that humans cannot even comprehend because it is so vast. Life is simply the cyclic movement of consciousness, and we are all part of this consciousness that is moving now, awakening from its slumber. Our suggestion to those who feel angry about being ripped off, as far as their DNA is concerned, is quite simple. Forgive the past. Just let it go. Let the anger dissipate and deal with what is right before you now. Anger will accomplish nothing other than stunting further growth. Embracing love, acceptance, and service will do more to heal the past and propel you forward than anything else you can do. One could even use this anger as a part of your self-mastery exercises. Virginia, excellent. To any of the comments or questions I've made during this particular chapter, bring forth any other thoughts that you would like to share. The Hathors. No, we feel complete except to say that we encourage you to start practicing the exercises every day. They are easy to do and offer you many rewards. It is not necessary to discard any spiritual practices you are involved with in order to use the methods we have discussed. Our suggestions will only help to enrich your path. Love heals all that it touches, and love opens doors that have been closed. And that is the end of chapter 3. What a beautiful chapter. What a beautiful breakdown of what we look like, of our physical and subtle bodies, and how it all works together, and how sickness occurs, how negative emotions can freeze things and block things, how integral the core body is, how it affects both the physical and the upper bodies. I mean, this has a lot of information in this chapter, so I'm glad that I got this chapter today. It really helps. It'll help me progress, and I'm gonna try these practices. So I've been trying from chapter 2, not all 3, because I think it was A, B, and C, right? I haven't started practicing C, where they send unconditional love, hold it, and send it to all parts of the body yet. But I have been practicing the column of light and sending the light throughout my body, and the shield coming out from the solar plexus surrounding the whole body. I don't know if you guys just saw that fly. You didn't if you're on the podcast. If you're on YouTube, you saw it. The back door is open. That's why it came in. And I'm so annoyed now. I should not have opened the back door. But there's nothing in here, but so I didn't think it would bring any flies. I have nothing open on the counter. Anyway, so yes, so we learn all these things, and I've been practicing the two of the exercises, right? And I do it in the morning because I do this qigong short exercise in the morning to help with all my different organs and the sounds. The qigong 6 sounds, I do that in the morning. And so now after I do that, I try to focus on the 2 practices the Hathors mentioned in chapter 2. I haven't started the 3rd practice yet. And so now this is another 2 things I can add to my practice, and try to do it throughout the day too, not just only in the morning. But I definitely do it in the morning to try and make sure I do it once for the day. But of course, the more we can do it, we can do it. Yeah. So I thought this was a really good chapter 3. So the next episode, we will deal with chapter 4, which is the fear of opening. So, and I'm going to post this on Wednesday. Today is Tuesday. Wednesdays and Fridays, I'm going to try to post for the podcast. And I haven't had a guest yet since Kai. But once I do have a guest, if the divine wills it, I will try to post those on Monday. So it'll be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But until then, it's just Wednesday and Friday. Unless you guys want me to post the podcast Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Maybe I need to consider that. Maybe the 2 days, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I need a break in between so I don't feel like bored with it and I get excited. So there's a little time I'll be like, oh, great, I got to read today, because I was excited to read today. Yeah, I think that works for me, the Monday, Wednesday thing. But tell me what you guys think, if anyone's listening, which ones you prefer. Um, but yeah, so that's it. So I hope you guys have a really good day and that of course you know that you are loved, that you are loved and you are gentle with yourself. And I hope these exercises help and improve your mood for the day and how you process and paying attention to your emotions and your feelings and honoring them. Apparently, it's quite important to our energy body, which affects everything. So, honor yourself. It's a way of loving yourself, I think. Yeah. Anyways, so until next podcast, I'll be posting this on Wednesday, but until like the next episode, hope you have a good few days. Bye.